Hey there, world. Welcome to Transparent Dialogues with Dr. Fluellen, where we uncover real stories, provide raw insights, open conversations about life, business, sports, and personal growth. Hey, I'm so excited to have you guys here with me today. On these first 3 episodes, I'm going to be taking you on a journey about my life, hoping that it inspires you to become the best version of yourself, and for you to also see that you're not alone. Check this out. Now, coming in the world, we're not responsible for who are our parents. We don't have the authority or the choice to choose. And coming into the world for me, I began to learn that pretty early. You see, I was born into this world from a mother who was addicted to drugs. And her drug addiction was so heavy that she used to abuse those drugs, even while she was pregnant with me. And on the day of delivery, you see, I was coming into this world and there was complications as a result of her addiction. The doctors had to do surgery on my little infant body, and lucky for me, I survived. But you see, when we left the hospital, things got worse. Because of mom's drug addiction, we didn't have a place to stay, food to eat, money, transportation, begging people to let us stay in their house. And some people were nice enough, let us stay for a day or two, and then they kick us out. And eventually and unfortunately ended up sleeping in abandoned buildings in the freezing cold of Cleveland, Ohio. Just this little boy trying to figure out, why is it so cold? Ma, why haven't I eaten? I don't have a coat. And mom couldn't answer these questions that this little boy had because she was addicted to drugs. Slowly but surely, my mother realized that she couldn't take care of me and my sister. She found an elderly couple that was willing to babysit us. The elderly couple said, hey, how long would you like for us to watch your children? My mother said, just for a few hours, I'll be right back. The elderly couple said, no problem, a few hours, of course we can do that. My mother left. And those few hours turned into a few days. Those few days turned into a few weeks. Those few weeks turned into a month. And then that month turned into a thing called Children and Family Services. I know a lot of you may have gone through that or currently going through that. You see, the elderly couple, they were not responsible for us. We weren't their biological children. So we were placed into the system, and as they're separating me and my sister, she's going to the left and I'm going to the right, and we're crying because we never thought we'd see each other again. You see, they thought by putting me in foster care, that was the best thing for me. Turns out it was wrong. I mean, as a matter of fact, let me take some time to share with you some of the things that I had to unfortunately endure while going through foster care. The first home that I entered in, the mother locked me in a small closet. Kept me there for days. Now imagine this, a little boy trapped in a room, no food, can't go to the restroom, and poop and pee all around him, banging on the door for somebody to help him, and nobody coming. That was my introduction to foster care. Lucky for me, they took me out of that home and they placed me into another one, and oh, this woman was so mean. You know, anger is a huge problem in today's society. And this woman, unfortunately, did not know how to control her anger. She smoked a lot of cigarettes, you see. And every time she would get mad, she would take that cigarette out and she would burn my face, burn my neck, burn my arm, burn my back, and say that I was the reason that this was happening. Just a little boy, unfair situation, a circumstance that I had no idea I was going through, that I had to go through. Yet I was going through it. And lucky for me, they take me out of that place. They send me to another one. Oh, even worse. You know, Dawn, the dishwashing liquid that you wash your dishes with? Well, she used to pour that in my food and stir it around and force me to eat it. And of course I would throw up. It doesn't belong in your system. But every time I would throw it up, she would force it back down me. And I'd throw it up again, she'll force it back down me. And if I cried and if I complained, oh, she'll beat me half to death. So unfair. I didn't ask for this life. I didn't choose for these circumstances, yet I had to go through them. So young, not understanding why, but yet they were happening and they had to happen. Lucky for me, social worker takes me out of that place and puts me into another one. Now, I hope everybody out here who's listening really understands the importance of hygiene. You know, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower. Very important for us all to comply with that on a daily basis. However, for me, I was terrified of taking baths and showers for years. Why, you ask? Simple, I'll tell you. You see, this woman would run the bath water boiling hot, with boiling water, scalded hot, and would hold my little body down in it. And as I would scream and cry to the top of my lungs, she would be laughing. Laughing. Unnecessary circumstance that yet I had to endure as I continue to go through this journey of foster care. Time passes and I was able to leave that place as well. Social worker eventually comes to me after having to endure a lot of group homes and boys' homes, juvenile. She comes to me and she says, I got a great family for you this time. You think I believed her? Of course not. Look at all these things that have been happening to me over the course of these years. She takes me by the hand, she walks me up a stair. I get up these stairs and the door opens. And to my surprise, there's my sister standing there. She takes off running to me. I take off running to her. We're crying, we're embracing each other because we never thought we would see each other again. And for those 10 years throughout foster care, my sister was living with the elderly couple that babysit us a long time ago. See, it was a reason why I had to endure all the trauma and abuse that I had to go through in order to be able to tell you this story right here on this camera for the whole world to hear. There's other people who need to be liberated by what I have to share and what I'm sharing today. But see, that elderly couple, Cleo and George, you know, Cleo's still alive. She's 95 years old, 5'5", feisty lady. She don't play no games. Unfortunately, George, he passed away 15 years ago. But Cleo and George had a lot of work cut out for them. Because by this time, I have a negative program that is embedded in my brain. I was negative, I was confused, I was dysfunctional, I was rebellious. I felt that the world mistreated me, so I'm gonna mistreat everybody else. Hurt people, right? But Cleo and George, they did this thing called love me, which was very confusing. You see, they would embrace me, try to hug me, tell me I'm handsome, I'm smart. But I would push them off of me. Don't talk to me like that. Don't say those things about me. They said, well, this is what true love really looks like, Wesley. And it was so confusing for me because for years, all I heard was that I was stupid, that I was ugly. Don't imagine to amount to anything. Don't even try, Wesley. You're a failure, you're worthless. And I heard it for so many years that unfortunately I started to believe it. But that didn't stop Cleo and George from loving on me. They were determined to fulfill their purpose in life of showing me that my life had meaning, no matter what I went through in the foster care system. You know, time passes and I'm just this little boy and I'm getting up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom. The lights are out in the house and I hear a lady as I stop in the middle of the hallway and it's Cleo. She's crying. And I mean profusely crying. I can't see her, it's dark, but she's off in the distance in the living room. And I stand there and I listen. I begin to hear her say, please save his life. He's such a good boy. Please help him. He's just been hurt. Please help him. Let him see who he really is. I stood there, this little boy in the hallway, confused. For the first time, I heard someone begging and pleading for me. For the first time, I heard I was special, I was important, I was somebody. But the negative program in my mind just wouldn't allow me to completely go over into that side of thinking. And ever so often, I would get up in the middle of the night and I would hear Cleo praying for me. And the community that I grew up in was very debauched. It's very violent, a lot of poverty. And you know, when you have poverty, you have a lot of crime. You know, there's a lot of negative things that take place in communities that are poverty stricken. And I'm just in the 6th grade walking out of school and a gentleman asked me, hey man, you want to make $100? And I say, of course I want to make $100. What I got to do? And he said, he gave me a little pack and he said, hey, take this little pack down the street. You do that, you come back, man, I give you $100. Man, I said, say less. I took that pouch. I went down the street, came back, sure enough, man pulls out a big wad of $100 bills, licks his finger, gives me the one on top. Say, hey, man, you want to come back tomorrow? I said, of course. And I'm walking home as this confused, dysfunctional little boy, staring at this $100 bill, thinking that this guy really loved me. I just did a favor for him. Man, what a great guy. That guy didn't love me. He didn't care about me. He was teaching me how to become a drug dealer in the 6th grade, which was unfortunately common in my community. So I became a drug dealer, running errands. But Cleo was still praying for me in the middle of the night. Time passes and a group of guys standing on the corner, they say, hey, you want to be a part of the family? I say, family, man, I always wanted a family. What do I got to do to be a part of the family? They say, man, you got to do this, do that. Of course, there were bad things, but I wanted to finally be a part of a family. Never had one. Even though I had a loving one at home with Cleo and George, my negative program was refusing to allow me to see what was right in front of me. True love. And these guys, they weren't family. They were a gang. People who rob, steal, and kill people. And yet my dysfunctional brain and negative program had me convinced that these guys were actually my family. But Cleo, you guessed it, was still praying for me in the middle of the night. Your time passes with all this trauma, dysfunction in my mind. One of my buddies who was in the gang gets into an altercation over a girl of all things. Beats the guy up pretty badly. The guy leaves the neighborhood and he comes back. And you know where I'm from, you don't come back by yourself. But he didn't come back by himself. He came back with a pistol. And he murdered my friend in broad daylight. Sun shining bright, right in front of me. And as my friend is falling to the ground, I'm holding him. I got blood all over my chest. He got blood coming out of his chest, blood coming out of his mouth. I got blood all over me as I'm holding him. And his last words was, he didn't want to die. And unfortunately, he died. And you would think that was enough for me to change. Still had this negative program from all the trauma and abuse that I unfortunately had to endure throughout the years. But Cleo, was still praying for me in the middle of the night. Time passes and the drug dealer buddies say, hey, let's make a run. And I always made a run with this guy. But for some reason this night, something told me I couldn't go. I shouldn't go. And I didn't. The next day I come home and Cleo's watching the news as she always does. Newsman says, hey, 2 young men found dead, drug deal gone bad. A series of bullets ran out, killed both of them. It happened to be my friend and the guy who took my place. Choices and decisions. If I would have decided to go with him that night, somebody I had no business being with in the first place, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be this successful businessman, former pro athlete, proud husband and father. But Cleo was still praying for me in the middle of the night. By this time, my biological father, you see, he was in prison. You know the place people go where they don't follow rules and authority? They got a place for you. It's called prison. And he was being released from there. And he wanted to find his son. And that he did. Now, my sister, of course, she was open arms. Maybe it's just a girl thing. I always wanted to see my dad. Me? No. Miss me with that. Where were you at when I was being mistreated and abused? Don't try to be my friend now. Don't enter my life now. But that didn't stop my father from pursuing me. My father began to go to church with Cleo and George and tried his way to get into my life. Still to this day, I don't understand people how my father would find me on the block, take me all the way across town in the projects where he lived. Now, see, I had no business being in these projects because the gang over there is the rivals to mine, and I have no business being there. But nobody would touch me as long as I was around my father. See, he had this respect. And in the middle of the projects, there was a basketball court. Set me down on the park bench, and he would go up and down a basketball court by himself, trying to talk to me. Son, I know I ain't been here, but I'm here now. Listen to me, man. I got something to tell you. I want to try to save your life. I know you're hurting. miss me with that. Trying to hear nothing you got to say. Get out of here. Kick rocks. This went on for 4 months. At the end of the 4th month, my father had enough of me ignoring him. My father grabbed me by my shirt, pulled me off that bench. Now me, I think I'm this tough thug guy, you know. Get your hands off me. Wrong thing to do. See, my father was 6'6" and a 3rd-degree black belt in Kung Fu. Not the guy you want to mess with. But see, he didn't kick me or punch me. He just took 2 fingers and he touched me somewhere in my back. And for 20 minutes, my whole right side was paralyzed, numb, couldn't move it. He said, hey, man, you going to listen to me today? Look at me when I'm talking to you. Don't you know you special? Don't you know you gifted? You want to ruin your life? Make better choices. Be something. You're here for a reason. Look at me when I'm talking at you. I looked at him. He said, hey, man, look me in the face and promise me that you'll do something constructive with your life. And I looked that man in his face. Yeah, I promise. Of course, I didn't mean it, right? Just wanted to get the heck up out of there. The next day, I come home from cutting school because I didn't like going to school. And Cleo was watching the news like she always is, but at this time, she's crying. My sister's crying. And I walk in with this cold heart. Man, what y'all crying about? And I discovered, as they told me, that my father that night died of a heart attack in his sleep. I felt a mask was slowly being removed from my face. I was so confused in my thoughts, and I took off and ran away from home. What do you think I ran away to? If you said the projects on that park bench, then you're right. I sat there for a long time thinking about Cleo's prayers. Am I special? Am I important? What does that look like? I've been mistreated. I've been abused. I've been left. How do I become this person? Sat there for a long time, and I still had negative thoughts raising in my mind. And you know, the more you let negative thoughts get into your mind, the more they multiply, and then they start to manifest themselves out in the open with a gun or with violence or with bullying. The list goes on, but they're all negative things, right? I carried myself back home with all these negative thoughts in my mind. And again, where I'm from is very violent. So even old Cleo and George had a pistol in the house to protect us, just in case anybody ever tried to harm us. And my sneaky self, nosy self, I knew where that gun was. Nobody's at home but me, and I enter into Cleo and George's bedroom. I go straight to that pistol. I pull it out. I sit on the edge of their bed, and on the edge of their bed was a huge mirror. And I stared at myself in this mirror. And I began to say things like, would anybody even miss me? Would anybody even care? I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I should just end this now. I don't have a real family. Cleo and George are my real parents. My friends are dead. I'm an orphan child. I should just end it. All of a sudden, it got real quiet in that bedroom. And I can't explain it to you. But the only way I can try is the voice was so far away yet so close. And it was pieces of Cleo's prayers. Wesley's so talented. Wesley's so gifted. Save his life. Wesley's so talented. Wesley's so gifted. Save his life. And I began to profusely cry, shaking with this pistol in my hand. I put that pistol away. I ran out of that room and I never went back in there again. But now I'm faced with another decision. After all the abuse, after all the trauma, if I'm really meant to be here and I'm meant to be successful, what steps do I take to become that person that Cleo prays about every night? Another choice, another decision. And at this point, I'm entering into middle school. And I'm in the 8th grade. And for me, I'm a year older than everybody else because in foster care, they kept me out of school. So I was actually in a grade lower than what I was supposed to be in. But I'm walking up and down the hallway in the 8th grade. And I see this huge sign say basketball tryouts. Now, I never paid it no mind, see, because I hated sports as a kid. I did not play sports. I was too busy getting in trouble running the streets. Sports was not my thing. However, it wasn't until the actual day of tryouts. As I'm walking down the hall, leaving the school, I hear a ball bouncing. I hear shoes squeaking, hands clapping, coaches yelling. Something overcame me that I can't explain, but it was so strong that I couldn't ignore it. And I found myself running into that gym. When I entered the gym, it was weird because everybody stopped and they looked at me. Like, what the heck is you doing here? You don't play sports, Wes. Why are you even in here? You're wasting your time, bruh. You're just going to embarrass yourself. Why even exhaust this energy in here? Leave, man. But yet there was something on the inside calling me to go into that gym. I knew I had to be there. And I was answering that thing that was inside of me. The only thing I heard loud and clear in my life at that time. And I tried out for that basketball team and I made it. And not only did I make it, world, I averaged close to 30 points a game and never touched the ball. How do you do that? Where do you do that at? It's simple. See, I had a gift inside of me the whole time. But trauma and abuse and foster care was trying to keep me from it. My father, who was in prison, was trying to keep me from it. My mother, who was strung out on drugs, was trying to keep me from it. The drug dealers, the gangbangers, they was trying to keep me from it. And even my own self, for a long time, was keeping me away from this beautiful gift that was already inside of me. And you, yes, you all have beautiful gifts inside of you that the world is waiting for you to choose to let it be free like I did that day. Because somebody's depending on your gift, your talent. The world needs you. I'm exercising one of my many gifts today on this podcast as I talk to you, as I spend time with you. Everyone has a beautiful gift inside, from the oldest person to the youngest person. Still have gifts inside that you may not even be aware of that's in there that the world needs to see from you. And when you decide to exercise your free will, to choose to let your gift shine, let it be free, then it'll liberate you too. And it'll take you into a great journey through this thing we call life. Thank you for watching today's episode. I hope that the introduction of my life resonated with you. If you'd like to connect or learn more, check out my website at drfluellenkeynotes.com. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on Transparent Dialogues. If you enjoyed the first episode, you definitely don't want to miss part 2. God bless. Peace.